up on Mountain News this morning, a case involving potentially friendly fire which paralyzed an officer has made its way to Kentucky's Supreme Court. And a new report confirms overdose deaths are decreasing in the Commonwealth.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. I'm Madison Carmouche. We're coming up on 5:30 this Friday morning, June 7th. It's a little foggy out there. Let's send it over to meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast.
It is definitely a little foggy, that is for sure. Madison, good morning, everyone. We got visibility issues across portions of the Commonwealth this morning, and as promised, it'll be burning off as we head toward the 8 and 9 o'clock hour. Pea soup thickness as you leave Perry County and head down toward Harlan. It is getting pea soup thick across portions of the Ohio River Valley up toward Ashland, and the same deal as you leave Williamsburg and head on over toward Wayne County. Temperature-wise, oh, look at here. Mid-upper 50s, lower 60s for a lot of us, minus Pikeville and Jackson checking in at 64. Nothing to speak of regarding cloud cover across the Commonwealth. Looking back toward the north and west, bubble of high pressure. See the finish line and enjoy this Friday with a lot of sunshine after the fog burns off and a forecast high in Hazard up to 78. The all-important weekend forecast coming up right after this. Actually, after this. No, coming up in a few moments. Back to the news desk with Madison.
All right, Tim, thank you. A late Thursday night shooting left one man dead in Middlesboro. Jason Steele, the Bell County coroner, confirmed with WYMT the victim was J.D. Lumpkin, a 24-year-old man from Middlesboro. Lumpkin was confirmed dead at the Middlesboro ARH on Thursday night. According to reports, Leslie Webb, a 27-year-old man from Middlesboro, is the suspected shooter. Webb is charged with second-degree manslaughter. A Lee County man is facing multiple drug charges. James Scott Brandenburg was arrested Tuesday in Beattyville. Police charged him with possession of fentanyl and meth along with criminal trespassing. He was taken to the Three Forks Regional Jail. The state's highest court heard a case yesterday that stemmed from a Scott County deputy being shot and injured in the line of duty in 2018. Deputy Jamie Morales was paralyzed when he was shot while trying to apprehend a fugitive in September of 2018. Investigators say it was a friendly fire shooting. Morales is suing the city of Georgetown and several officers. Morales' attorney says there was not a good plan put in place to stop his injury from happening.
Your Honor, this doesn't decide the case. We're only asking that our client, Mr. Morales, be given an opportunity to present his case to the jury.
There's been a debate on if the apprehension was a special response team action. Georgetown and the officer's attorneys say it was not directed as that, but SRT officers and equipment were used in the operation. There is not a timetable on when the Supreme Court may issue a decision. A new Tennessee state law passed by lawmakers earlier this year will allow teachers, staff, and students to carry Narcan in the classroom. It comes as the opioid epidemic continues to worsen, and advocates hope to expand access to tools that can help reverse potentially fatal overdoses. The nasal spray can revive someone experiencing an overdose. As we reported in the previous week, reports show overdose deaths are decreasing in Kentucky, but a new release from the state's capital also confirms the data. Governor Andy Beshear released the 2023 Kentucky Drug Overdose Fatality Report yesterday. For the second year in a row, Beshear says the number of overdose-related deaths has dropped in the Commonwealth. The report shows Kentucky has seen a nearly 10% decrease in deaths since 2020, but the governor says there's more work to be done.
Look, this is still far too many lives that have been lost, and we still have a long way to go. But celebrating success, celebrating doing better, celebrating having a better year is what gives us the strength to do even more, to push even harder.
This is a higher drop than that found in a recent report by the CDC. That report showed an 8% drop in overdose deaths in Kentucky. The final phase of the Mountain Parkway expansion project has received a green light. The Federal Highway Administration completed its environmental review of the project. It's a 13-mile segment from Magoffin to Floyd County. Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman says this will be a cross-country route instead of expanding the Kentucky 114 corridor, leading to fewer disruptions.
The Mountain Parkway expansion isn't just an investment in a road project, it is an investment in safety and opportunities for the people of Eastern Kentucky.
The 13-mile section is the last piece of the expansion project not already under construction. Officials with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet announced a road in Morgan County will be closed Monday. Drivers who use Route 772 will need to find a different route. Crews will be working to replace a drainage pipe at mile point 3.4. No marked detour will be posted, but officials said drivers can use Highway 3345 or 705. A lightning strike caused a fire over Memorial Day weekend at an eye doctor's office in London. Now Huffman & Huffman Eye Surgeons is working to bounce back. Carly Hodgkins talked with the owners about plans to reopen.
After Huffman & Huffman Eye Facility was lost due to a fire started by a lightning strike, they had to start all over. The only thing standing was the patients and the community of London.
The biggest thing that has come out of this unfortunate thing that's happened is how many friends we have and how much community support we have.
Owner and surgeon Jim Huffman says with the help of the community pitching in, just after 2 weeks they found a new location and are almost ready to open. But one thing stopped them from fully running.
We thought, hey, we're ready to go, and then all of a sudden the thing that you take for granted is internet service.
At first, they were told no carriers would be able to supply the practice with internet until the end of June.
You would think in a city like London that there would be internet service every place, but there's not.
Without Wi-Fi or internet, eye imaging machines like these cannot work, which are essential to most appointments.
If these patients don't get treatment, you know, there's a chance that they could have some vision issues.
They had to resort to renting a separate location to care for their patients while they waited for the full-speed internet at their new location. But after hours of hard work, they are working closer to opening.
People have been working tirelessly to get this up and going to help the patients.
After many phone calls later, the carriers say they are working to get the fiber internet running, and the new practice on Fortress Property Street will be able to open. In Laurel County, Carly Hogston, WKYT.
Huffman says they plan to open Monday. The flood of July 2022 left a devastating impact on local communities that is still felt to this day. But officials with Letcher County have applied for and were granted aid to help rebuild local roads that were impacted by the floods, which made them dangerous to use. Officials talked about why it's so important to have access to these funds.
Notified by an individual that some of the things was causing problems with kids getting to school and not being able maybe to get a fire truck or an ambulance through. And I talked to the transportation department there in District 12. I had my staff get through to them. So it's a work in progress, and it's problematic for the public, but we are working as hard as we can, as fast as we can, get all the help we can.
Other counties surrounding Letcher that were also impacted by the 2022 flooding have been notified that they can too applied for aid to make repairs in their communities as well. Hundreds of students in Perry County have been displaced from their original schools due to the July 2022 flooding, but officials with Perry County school systems say that with funding from federal agencies like FEMA, rebuilding what was lost in the flooding is becoming a reality. We talked to Perry County school official Jody Maggard about the process.
we knew that we wanted to rebuild as soon as we possibly could. Now it's a process, and there's going to be some frustrations with that because it's a big construction process, and but it's going to happen. And with the use of the funds from both the federal and state government, it'll make it happen.
Officials with Perry County Schools say there are plans to buy land off of Highway 80 with the goal of rebuilding the Robinson Elementary School. An Eastern Kentucky superintendent announces her retirement. Floyd County Schools Superintendent Anna Shepard is retiring effective August 1st. Shepard served in the role for 3 years. School officials said Shepard had several accomplishments, and she was the first female superintendent in the system. No interim superintendent has been announced. And last night, Lawrence County School District announced its new superintendent of schools. Miss Katie Webb was voted in unanimously with a 5-0 vote, according to a post on X. Webb currently serves as the Chief Academic Officer of Lawrence County Schools. Webb has multiple degrees, including a Master's of Education degree and an Instructional Supervision degree, both from Morehead State University. She has 14 years of experience working in private and public schools. This appointment comes after Dr. Robbie Fletcher's departure to become Kentucky's Chief of Education. A Louisville-based doctor is taking over as the American Medical Association's new president. Dr. Bruce Scott specializes in ear, nose, and throat issues. He'll work with lawmakers on reforms to the healthcare system in his new role. Dr. Scott says fixing prior authorization is one of his biggest goals during his term. He also wants to make sure Medicare patients have access to health care.
Some physicians are making difficult choices to limit the number of Medicare patients that they're willing to accept, or stop taking Medicare patients altogether. And when it gets really difficult, some physicians choose to retire or to close their practice completely. And in any of these scenarios, it's the patients that suffer.
Dr. Scott has been acting as the president-elect for the past year. He'll officially take over for his one-year term on Tuesday. Just ahead, Dolly Parton continues to grow her business, but this time it's a select taste.
And weather-wise this morning, we're starting off in the fog across portions of eastern and southern Kentucky on this Friday morning. Do we stay in the fog? Don't worry, I got a good answer. All the details with your First Alert 7-day forecast. And do you like bluegrass too? I'll highlight a cool event as well. That's all coming up after the break.